So here I am getting some groceries. This is typically what I always buy, including during the winter, which is what this video is about. So here's just the average produce that I always buy. And there's tomatoes, lettuce, celery, corn, mushrooms, bananas, as usual. And here is the box that we got. There's some horseradish in here, which is warming. Let's see here, rosemary, which stimulates circulation. I have some baby chives, some bean sprouts, peaches, and a little plum. There's my romaine. I love my romaine. And there is some arugula. Love that. And let's see, peas. And oh my gosh, I got more mushrooms. I'm going to totally be eating a lot of mushrooms. I love my marinated mushrooms, but I got two. And then plus the ones I bought earlier today. But that's okay. There's more corn in here. There's some garlic scapes and tomatoes. So I'm excited to get to this box. So excited. Look at those mushrooms. Organic ones are the best. And here is my smoothie. My smoothie breakfast shake that I always have. This is a staple in the winter, guys. 4 bananas. This is about 4 or 5 dates I think I put in there, and a cup of blueberries that I've saved from the summer. Hey friends, welcome to another Lissa video. Today we have Arya in the background. She's just going to be cute there for you guys. And today I want to talk about how I get through the winter on a raw food diet, because I've already been through one. I'm going on 13 months raw, and I want to talk about that because it's such a huge issue for a lot of people. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm just going to share with you my personal thoughts about the subject, because I've been, obviously, I've eaten cooked food and junk food and high protein and high fat. I've done it all. So the difference between last winter and all the other winters, bye Arya, I've experienced both sides. So I want to talk about what I've dealt with, and hopefully maybe it can help you guys somewhere along the way. So the first thing I want to say is that when it's cold, it's going to be cold, and it doesn't matter, like if the furnace is off and we come home, or if I'm outside for like doing a 2 or 3 hour photo shoot and I come home and I'm cold to the bone, that nothing's going to help with that except warming up in blankets and sweaters and turning up the temperature, turning on the space heater, that kind of thing. It's not, honestly, now where I am today in my life, food isn't going to help that. Cooked food isn't going to help that. So I want to talk about that because in the past, whenever I've done like especially a calorie restricting diet of all cooked foods, I was eating a lot of warming foods. Even in the summer months, I was cold. My extremities were cold, my hands and feet were freezing, and my nose even sometimes would be cold. But I was eating cooked food, so I didn't really connect the two. And even in the winter, I was cold too. So I think that the feeling cold in the winter has a lot to do with a sluggish or slow metabolism. Your thyroid gland, you should probably go get that checked, because that can lead to you feeling a little bit colder. So even though I was feeling cold on cooked food, ironically enough, while I went through last winter, I was actually warm on raw food because I was healing my metabolism. I was eating a lot of calories. I was eating between 2,100 and 2,300 calories of fruits and vegetables. But in the past, I would calorie restrict right down. Even some days were like 1,300 calories. No wonder I was cold, because my body was just in kind of like hibernation mode. So I was feeling cold a lot of the time. Another thing that makes a huge difference in feeling cold or not is your circulation. If you have a sluggish circulation, then you're not going to be pumping that warm blood to your extremities. A few things that can help with that would be dry brushing, rebounding, like on a little trampoline. Exercise always warms you up. So get the blood pumping and get that moving so that you feel less cold during winter months. I think the reason why people feel warm when they eat cooked food is because cooked food actually stimulates an immune response. And I experienced this back in December of 2014 when I did a raw till 4 day for my birthday. I did raw in the morning and for lunch, and then for dinner, I was taken out to a really fancy restaurant. That meal was, you know, potatoes, it was low fat, there was lots of steamed veggies, but I noticed that after I consumed that, I started to heat up. And I started to feel a little bit like a fever. And then I started to do a little research, and I did find that cooked food does stimulate an immune response. So I think that a lot of people, when they're eating cooked food, they're experiencing that and not necessarily the warming effect of it actually being warm. That said, you can keep your produce and stuff on the counter maybe an hour or two before if you have time or whatever. All of my fruit stays on my counter, so all of my fruit is at room temperature. But having things at room temperature really helps with, sorry, the light's kind of funny, helps with keeping things not freezing. Like if I take everything out of the fridge and I eat my tomatoes out of the fridge, like just right there, they're going to be cold, of course. And you might feel cold, but it doesn't really affect my entire body temperature. But if you are worried about that, you can take your produce out early and just let it sit on the counter to become room temperature, so it's a little bit less freezing when you eat that. Yeah, your metabolism is probably the number one thing when it comes to feeling warm in the winter. You want to make sure that you're eating enough calories so that your metabolism is on fire and you're burning a lot. Okay. They're just playing, don't worry, it's not a fight. Yeah, so you want your metabolism to be top notch, and that comes from eating a lot of healthy calories from fruits, vegetables, and a small amount of nuts and seeds. No calorie restricting, because when you calorie restrict, you nutrient restrict, and your body goes into a sleep hibernation mode because you're not feeding it, you're not watching out for it, and it's wanting to have that constant energy. So you want to keep that in mind as you go into the winter months. Then let's see here, what else? Soups. I had a lot of questions about raw soups, and I do the occasional raw soup, but I don't do it because I feel I need something warm. I do it because I like the variety, I like the flavors, I do like soups, and how I do them is I actually put all the ingredients in my Vitamix and I blend it so it's like a soup consistency, and I let the Vitamix go for like maybe 5 or 6 minutes, and it actually heats up the soup. And I've tested the temperature with a meat thermometer. The golden temperature for raw food is 115 to 118 degrees Fahrenheit. Some say it's a little bit less, but I think that that's a good average. And the soups that I make are around 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's definitely below the temperature, and you just warm it up just enough so it's a little bit warm, so it kind of tastes like soup that's been, you know, on the table for a little bit. It's not too hot. I never like to eat piping hot soup anyways, so that didn't matter to me. I do have a recipe for soup on my YouTube channel. I will post a link to that in the description. It's a corn chowder. I also have a pumpkin soup that I made for Thanksgiving. That one is going to be in my recipe book. But there's lots of raw soups that you can find on Google. You can just Google them and just have them in the blender for a little bit of time just to warm them up if you want. I've also heard of people using their dehydrator to warm things up. You can put it in a shallow bowl and put that in your dehydrator and then just set the temperature to a low temperature and just let it sit in there for a little bit just to warm it up if you want. Again, I don't need to. I feel warm and super, like I emanate heat on a raw food diet if you do it right. If you eat enough calories, get your metabolism up there. I had to increase my calories because my metabolism is so fast right now that the 2100 to 2300 calories wasn't doing it anymore. I had to increase. So there's that. Another big thing, spices. Spices stimulate your circulation and they heat your body up from the inside. I use a lot of smoked paprika. I use a lot of chili flakes, red pepper flakes, cayenne pepper. I like things spicy. Now, a lot of people can't handle it, but you could try incorporating just a little bit here and there. Cinnamon is really warming. Some of those spices. Ginger, too, is really good. Just adding a little bit extra spice, if you want, to your diet will help with the circulation and warming your body up from the inside without using cooked food. I don't want to resort to cooked food to be warm. I will first put on a sweater, which is the simplest thing to do. Use blankets, maybe do some jumping jacks, why not? So just to get, things moving, and you'll feel okay. Again, if it's cold, you're going to be cold, and that's just how it is. When it's hot out, you're going to be hot. So, yeah. And then somebody also mentioned that they wanted me to talk about the variety of food in the winter. Here in Alberta, I've never lived anywhere else, so I have no idea, but I do get sort of jealous of people living in the southern states. They get some pretty awesome produce. In tropical countries where they're eating mangoes and coconuts all the time, it gets expensive here to ship all that stuff way up here. But you know what? I personally, after doing this for so long, it doesn't bother me that there isn't a huge variety in the winter. I basically already live on bananas, and bananas are always inexpensive. So I do tend to eat a little bit more bananas in the winter. I purchased a whole bunch of blueberries and Saskatoon berries over the summer, and they're all in the freezer so that I have extra for my smoothies if I want to add a little bit of berries to them that way. So the ugly produce rack is cheap, so if mangoes are expensive, maybe they move them over to the cheap ugly table and you can get some nice tropical fruit. Sometimes it's not even great quality, so I don't even bother. I want to feel healthy on this lifestyle, and variety isn't really a big thing for me. I just enjoy eating what I like to eat, and I tend to eat almost the same thing every day. I have my banana smoothie first thing in the morning that you saw earlier in the video, and my salads, and then some raw concoction or whatever for dinner. But I really don't mind not having the variety. If you don't have the variety, just learn to enjoy the fruits and vegetables that are available to you, the ones that you do really like, and just eat those. I mean, if you think about back in the day, all the people who say, oh, the Germans lived on potato stew or whatever, that's what they ate during the winter because that's all there was. They didn't have the great variety that we do. And because we have such a great variety compared to before, yes, I know it's less in the winter, but we do still have bananas in Alberta, which is brilliant. So I take that as a grateful thing that I can actually eat bananas way up north, and I will take that and be happy with that. So I hope you guys enjoyed my little video about being raw in the winter. If you have any other questions that you'd like me to address, please post below, and subscribe to my channel, like if you like, and share the video with all your friends. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and 2grand, all at Raw Food Romance. And I'm going to go out and enjoy this. It's actually sunny today, but it's only like 11 degrees Celsius, but whatever. I might go for a walk. We'll see. But until the next video, guys, fruit on.